last 4 years or so, I have been very busy getting movement to be a natural part of my lifestyle. I'm not one of those people who's ever been remotely sporty. I am very non-competitive. So if you challenge me to a race or ask me to go faster, I'm really not interested in external expectations to compete. And I'm really dislike doing the same thing over and over again. I love variety and I love spontaneity. And about 4 or 5 years ago, my life was quite sedentary, probably apart from the stuff I did with the kids. I didn't have any way of regularly, intentionally moving my body. And this was most apparent for me when I had a period of illness and I was very anxious. And I was learning all the time that anxiety is really helped by movement. And so I set about walking. All I did was I committed to walk once a week. And that was the beginning of what has been an evolving process and will go on for me to be my life with movement. And it has become something that I now never need to think about whether I will or I won't, because my body triggers me to remind me to move. I just think about the ways in which I will move that day or in that particular session and how I can evolve my practice to continually suit my goals and my lifestyle and how I want to express myself. So I reckon that if somebody like me who isn't at all a sports person and who doesn't really see themselves as a gym bunny, if somebody like me can integrate movement into their lifestyle, I think it is possible for everybody. And so in this section, I really want to address generally what goes into making a habit around movement, how we can optimize and what are the shortcuts to doing that in your life, so that as you look at the map of wellness and you explore where you're at and where you want to get to, if this is an area you want to work on, then you can set yourself up to make some commitments, to set some intentions, to visualize some goals around your movement life. So movement in general then, it is widely known that movement and exercise benefits just about every area of our well-being. It's one of those cornerstone habits, which means if we set that in place, instantly other things will also benefit because it's there. In studies that scientists have done into depression and anxiety, many studies, I've looked at some of these results, movement and exercise is the single most effective prescription factor that anybody has observed. Just adopting movement is more effective than taking drugs or nutrition or other lifestyle factors that you might be prescribed. And it doesn't have to cost anything. So it should be pretty easy for us to get convinced about the benefits of adopting movement naturally into our lifestyle. You know, as children, we all moved a lot and without any need to be inspired or encouraged. And so that instinct is in us and we can tap into that and we can free ourselves to move in the way that suits us. However, I do think, and these will be some of the baggage and preconceptions that we all bring to the idea of movement and exercise, that it has become quite loaded in the media and that a lot of people in the wellness industry, they embrace a shame or guilt-based approach to exercise. You have to kind of deal with doing regular exercise. And I am saddened by the amount of people for whom exercise and movement is another thing on their to-do list and is effortful and is unsustainable and is ridden with guilt or shame. It really does pain me that we have such low grade emotions around exercise, and so regularly feel guilty if we're not doing it and slightly saintly if we have managed to do it. And actually, I think that the birthright for us in human beings with movement is joy. When you look at the way kids move, they do it to enjoy themselves, enjoy their bodies, but also doing it, it creates joy for them. And so the couple of principles I want to offer to you in this section are around how to move naturally and how to move in ways that align with who you are, what you like, and also how you already live your life. So the first principle is this: find movement that you enjoy. Literally any way of moving, whether that's dance and Zumba or gardening or walking outside, whether that's lifting weights or boxing or jiu-jitsu or swimming or skiing, like any way that you are interested in moving and you enjoy moving, that is the thing to focus on. Because if it produces joy in you, it will be sustainable and therefore much more beneficial. So it doesn't matter what anybody else is doing. It doesn't matter what the latest craze is going around Instagram. You are responsible for curating a life of movement that is aligned with who you are and what you like. So I know for me, I don't like to swim. So I don't like the effort around getting changed, and I don't like being cold, and running and lifting weights has become the things that I genuinely do enjoy. I love to be outside, and so when I'm out there, I'm energized in my mind, and it doesn't matter to me so much what my body is doing, but I enjoy the whole experience. So finding something that you enjoy is really important. And then secondly, finding ways to move that are aligned with how you already live. So for example, if you know that you do 5,000 steps on average a day, find ways to make that 7,000 steps. So it's not a whole new addition to your life, but it is enhancing what's already there. Or if you know that you do like to swim, then give yourself a swim session when you've done the weekly shop or whatever it is as a reward, so that it is enhancing the patterns of thinking that are already in your life and finding ways for it to fit around what's happening. Look for the triggers to your habit creation. So triggers are the things that make you think or make you feel or make you want to act on your habits. So for me, I know I have never stayed in once I've got my run stuff on. As soon as I've put those lycra pants on, I've got my trainers on, I will always go for a run eventually. So just putting the clothes on for me is a trigger. It also can be a trigger to have a time of day or a particular space that you're in every day that you do your movement. Just going into the room where you do your movement, or just getting to that point in the day when you usually exercise, can be a trigger. So finding ways to use triggers to your advantage, to leverage them, to ease your way into habit creation around movement is something that you might decide as a result of this video to do right now. And then my last takeaway is for you to create flexible micro habits. They say that consistency is the mother of mastery. And it's much more important that we are consistent at small things that we do than we absolutely blow our socks off once or twice with something really big, whatever that is for us. And I have developed this idea of flexible micro habits. So take, for example, a swim session. Maybe you know that you want to swim more, and rather than creating one fixed goal and saying, I'm going to swim every day, you would create a stepped approach, like a ladder, so that you vary the intensity and also the different disciplines within that one goal. So it may be that the bottom ladder is, I'm just gonna go for a quick dip in the jacuzzi on my way to work. And that is part of your habit formation. It's enjoyable, it's easy for you to get interested in, and it's absolutely achievable. You know, there's no day when you can't do that, for example. And maybe the next one up is that you're going to do 3 lengths of the pool, and that will be your intermediate goal, let's say. And maybe you have an absolutely smash it goal for the days when you know that you've got loads of energy and you do 5 lengths of crawl, 5 front breaststroke and 5 butterfly lengths. And that way you can moderate your exercise to suit your energy levels or just what you've got going on that day without breaking the consistency of your habit. And this principle of flexible micro habits works for absolutely any habit you want to create. And the key is to make the bottom rung of the ladder low enough so it's almost completely unbreakable. It's almost easier to do that level of the habit rung than to not do it. And so the sense of confidence you have and trust in yourself that you will achieve something that you set your mind to keeps building as you go through it. And you have that magnetizing of yourself and your movement goal. And it can be built on day by day by day. And then on the days when you do your smash it top rung goal, you feel wonderful about it, but it doesn't change the levels of the bars. So you can still have an off day afterwards and not feel disappointed because you've maintained the consistency of your goal. So you can try that approach right away if movement is an area you want to work on in your life. Finding one goal, breaking it into different rungs of the ladder and maybe slightly different options within that, so you can sit in a jacuzzi and you can swim, and both of those count towards achieving your goal because you are patterning your thought life and increasing your self-confidence around movement. So that is the second section of the 3 I want to look at with you, and we're going to move on now to rest.